Hey, what's up everybody? Hope you're well. So today, Resolve, dun dun dun. So Divinci Resolve 16 Studio, which I'm working with today, and we're going to export an XDCAM 1080/50. Now, Resolve can't do AVC Intra 100 for some reason. I'm not too sure why, but that's not today's problem. Today's problem, we're going to get an XDCAM 1080/50. And I'm going to show you some cool things about Resolve. So what I like to do in Resolve is, seeing that we have our little markers, I love to kind of marker up my sequence first of what I'm going to do. So this is going to be the start of my slate, and I kind of just do one monitor here. So I do my slate, there's where the start of the black's going to be, there's my spot, and this is where my freeze is going to be, because we're doing a UK one. So as you'll see here, I've got my my asset here. I've thrown up a super just to kind of show you some fun things. Now with Resolve, it is a pretty kick-ass piece of kit. Now I am doing the studio version of this, but this will work on the free version as well. We've gone over a lot of stuff about kind of limitations and, sorry, not limitations, limiting of video and kind of making sure everything's clipped out to be, you know, correct, 0 and 100, and make sure that's all right. Now, a couple of things in Resolve. If you jump down to your little toggle here and jump in, you can actually jump up and go through a lot of the fun things here. So in this case, it's all 25 frames a second. Sorry for my North American counterparts. You've got your imaging as well, which is kind of cool, and your color management. Now, color management, there's a little section right here, which is about broadcast safe IREs. So in this case, I always like to do 0 to 100. Now you've got EBU 103 and 105 just here, and this allows for transients coming through. To be 100% sure, always do it at 0 to 100. Now, if I come through and I lock this down and take off this make broadcast safe and click save, and then I jump through to my color section and I have a waveform, everything's pretty groovy. I can come in and get my gain and I can throw it right up, and it clamps out at 1023, which is the HD version of that, right? So this is a key thing I want to kind of show, because even though I'm pushing the white through the roof and you can see it, it's not actually showing me the transients per se. So what I like to do is I use this absolutely to get the right ways of making sure everything is to the right sections, but you need to always make sure that in here you put it to 0, 100 and make broadcast safe. So that will be 100% sure that no transients are going to come out, there's not going to be sub-blacks, there's not going to be any kind of gamma issues. It's always going to be rock solid. Now, if you're a bit crazy and you love to live on the edge, absolutely chuck in your R103 and 105 if that's the way you want to rock. But as always, check your local distributors for their specs and see where they're going, which would be 0 to 700 millivolts or 710 millivolts, depending on how they float their boat. So, that said, we jump back down to our edits. Our edit's ready to rock. We've got our 6 at the front, 6 at the back. Now, check this out. If I zoom in and I have a look at this, and this is ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can have, see this little transient sitting here, and you can, it doesn't actually even show much that's coming through. But the beautiful thing about Resolve is that it's got a fantastic digital workstation as well. So you can actually come through and just check that all out and make sure it is nice and neat. Now, while we're here, there's a fun thing. There is a loudness section. Now, in version 15, they introduced Fairlight coming into the family, which is amazing. It might have been, yeah, I think it was 15, maybe 14, but I'm sure it's 15. And now in 16, they've offered a lot of other versions of loudness to check out. So you've got the Japanese, you've got some Italian, Australian, Europe, the Americans, and more kind of resolved in the BS 1717 version. Now, please Google the willy out of this. This is quite simple. But it's kind of going within the gating and the levels, and this one is a kind of an EBU R128, which is I kind of like to use as well. Now, buyer beware. Let's go back to our little cog again. There's so much in that little cog. So if we crank on through here, and I always forget things in generals. Here we go. Hello. So audio metering is at minus 23 LUFS. If I was in the States, I'd make it at minus 24. If I was in Australia, minus 24. Parts of Europe, again, minus 23 or 24. And what this will allow you to do is that minus 23, whenever you play something back in here, it will kind of compare against it. Now this is where I got my head mixed up, because I thought when you're looking at integrated loudness here, it'll be showing you what the integrated loudness is. But what it's actually doing is showing you what's higher or lower to the integrated loudness that you have selected up here against what you've actually compounded back in your settings. Mind blowing? Well, let me show you. So in this case, I've got my spot. What you need to do is hit reset and you start. You now need to play it in real time. You can talk and sing and do all sorts of wacky stuff. It's irrelevant to what's going on here because the system is looping itself back. It's checking it against the settings that you've got up there. And then it's showing you what is out and what is safe. So 0.0 or 0.1 or 0.2 is what was doing my absolute nut in, because I'm trying to figure it out going, but I want -23. What are you telling me here? What it's telling me is that once it rolls down and finishes, it's fine. You don't need to adjust anything. It's actually sitting in at -23. But for the eagle eyes of this podcast, you'll be able to see that over here on my main exit bus here, I've actually put a .1 LUF adjustment on it. Now, if I came through and clicked on this and done a 0, and it's all leveled out, I could go back through and this will come in at .1, which would represent -23.1. Now, let me show you what I'm going to do here. And by the way, a majority of them will have a plus or minus to it. It'll be .5, it'll be a plus or minus. The French want -23 even. No plus or minus, on the dot, -23. So if I reset this and I start it again and then I play it down one more time, you will see that the integrated will be .1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that we're going to export this out. I'm then going to put it through FFMPEG to check the loudness on it, and that will then cross check that I'm actually doing the right thing here. So you can do it on the channels as well, which will be each of these channels. Obviously, I have no multiple mix in this, so I always recommend doing the bus out to make sure you've got it. So if I pause this, hello, there you go, -.1. So what does this all mean? Glad you asked. All right, so let's go check out the juice of this video. Let's go actually export something out. So go to deliver. Here's the funky feature I love about Resolve. Here we go. Pop that bit out for some real estate and some real estate. Love this part of it. So first things first, I go to file. I always do the timeline name. That's a key thing to actually make sure your videos are going to be correct, which I love, all right? So go to video, MX1P, OP1A, and XDCAM MPEG 2. Interesting thing for the people out there exporting subtitles. If you want to embed this, you cannot embed CA 608 on this at any stage. I've tried even 708, but if you do DNX and figure out one you want, we'll probably go with this 2020, and you do that, it will embed the 708s. What it won't do is do the 608 and 708s. Why? I have no idea. I've reached out to their support, logged a ticket to find out why it's not embedding on the XDCAMs. So more to follow. So field rendering, we're on for sure. Audio, we're ready to go. Now, for argument's sake, and this is a thing about FFmpeg, if I put this down to a single track and I throw it through FFmpeg, it's going to combine the two and give me a false reading. So what I'm going to do for this, just to show you that audio thing, is I leave this off so it's a stereo mix. I then throw this file down, replace the one I just tried, start my render, and it's going to bounce down. So what we should see here is a -23.1. So what we will do, this is purely for a demonstration purpose. What I'm going to go back is change and show you the multi track, which is what XDCAM should actually do. And then this will allow us to see the audio in that DAM system that shows you need to be able to adjust it to a 0.0, and you're not looking for -23 or -24. Once this is bounced down, I'll throw it through FFmpeg, I'll show you the reading, and then we'll come back in, I'll do another walkthrough with, say, American Calm Act, and you'll see that it's like a second out. So off we go, hide that, there's my spot, happy days. Throw it through here and run it down, and this should be -23.1. Hurrah! There's your integrated loudness right there. So, delete that out, because don't need him anymore. Let's go back into our resolve, back into audio, and for argument's sake, I'll do this as American, which is -24. Reset this down, and back to the start. There we go. Reset, start, and play. So, off we go. Now this should be coming in at 1 over, or 1.1, or -1.1. Let's have a look at ourselves. So as you see, it's doing the plus. It's going to be plus because the higher the number, the lower it is. So it's basically saying this one is too loud. It needs to come down. So I'll show you how you fix this. If you need to repurpose this for America, this is what I'm going to show you. So that's playing down, and it's going to come out at there. So pause that. It's a little bit loud. So we would come down to here and we'll do -1 into that, reset, back through, start, and play down. So this would then say this asset, as you see down here, my mixers, my bus is at the right space. So it's now going to come down. When this reads out 0.0, that's a representation of a -24 LUFS mix. Guys, it took me a long time to figure this out. The literature isn't that crash hot, but after a lot of clicking, a lot of testing, a lot of scratching my head, that's what the deal was. So if I pause this now, Shazam, that's -24. If we should, hell, let's try this. Let's go to the deliver tab. That's going to be fine. I've already deleted the one out. I'm going to leave that here. Let's add it to the render queue, drop this down, and we'll do the testing through FFMPEG, and it will come up at -24 LUFS. I'm sorry I'm going over this a lot, and it is a lot longer than the tutorial that I normally do, but I thought it was really beneficial to kind of walk you guys and girls through this, to kind of show you the power of this system actually, but where the caveats were, because it took me a long time to figure it out, and that's the reason I want to get this video. So once this is done, we'll then go back, change the audio back to what it should be for -23 for EBU. We'll then click on the 2 dual monos, and then we'll spit it out, check the quality control of this asset, and then we should be ready to go. So, we're up here, see, you think it's rendered out, it's actually just rendered quicker. So, hide that, there's my spots. If I click back on here, reuse that name of the file, -24.1. So there you go. So that would be classified a pass for the US. Something to kind of keep in mind when you're doing that. So while I'm talking here, I'll clear this down. That was the dot that I didn't do. .1. And then save this. Come through to my deliver. Tick on my reorder tracks. And render this down. Replace the one that I just done as the ATS 85, absolutely, and off to the races we go. Now you guys have seen this, start render. You've seen the version that I did before up the top right on exporting out via Python. It's a great little video and it's very, very cool. Unfortunately, it's only for Studio. They only offer the Python scripting for that, but this application is really growing in speed. I mean, I'm not even going to go into the 16 and the 16.1 options of what you can do right now. And always remember to keep that limiting of the video on at 0 to 104, Rec 709. But when it comes to Rec 2020 and D3 and all that sort of fun stuff, this is going to be a whole new world that we need to walk through. But today we're looking at high definition commercials, okay? So once that's done, hide that. For argument's sake, let's recheck that audio. And it's going to be -26.1. This is giving me the false reading that I was telling you about on the dual channels. Comment below if you know the script to use. I'm going to put this script in that I used for here so you can just check the EBU. I'm sure if you've done some sexy kind of audio mapping, you'll be able to get it, but this is where we're at. So we do our normal thing, we grab our file, we go check out our media info, make sure that's all groovy, and what we're looking for are the key things. Duration, 50 and 0 milliseconds, perfect. This is coming out of Resolve. XD, it is a PAL 312, excellent. It's upper field, interlaced, even better. We've got our 2 channels of audio there. We have our time code for specific places. that's ready to rock as well. We can grab him, open him up with Switch, and good old-fashioned Switch will be able to go through and check out the time codes. There it is, and it's hitting in at 10, and voila, perfect. So there you go, guys. That's us for Resolve 16 getting out an XDCAM. Unfortunately, it doesn't do AVC Intro 100. Not sure why, but that's okay. On the Mac, I can do ProRes. I haven't got a Linux version to test to see if you can do ProRes on that, but hey-ho, XDCAM is pretty much popular throughout all the distributors, so hopefully that helps. Again, the XDCAM with CE8, 708, and 608 can't be embedded into an XDCAM. More to follow on that, and hopefully when Blackmagic come back and give us an answer, I can do a tutorial to show you. Hope you're having a great day, guys. Bye for now.